Welcome back, everyone, to what is going to be a Tesla camp mode adventure. Yes, it's the middle of January, but we're going to do it anyway. So we booked ourselves an RV site that has a NEMA 1450 outlet, so we'll be able to run off utility power all weekend, which means we can run that heater flat out without issue. Anyway, we charged up to 100% this morning, just because I knew I'd have to go to work, do some errands and stuff like that. And that leaves us now at an 82% state of charge. The Better Route Planner predicts a 50% state of charge arrival, but since we've got some errands to run, I predict that'll be a bit lower. Anyways, let's get on the road. With our errands run, we've got everything we need for a fantastic weekend in the middle of nowhere. It's worth talking about a couple things that have changed since our last little Tesla adventure. First off, we've had the holiday update, which, as you can see, has significantly changed the layout of the touchscreen. First worth noting is the self-driving visualization. The autopilot visualization is a lot larger than it was before, which means that there isn't as much screen real estate for your map, Spotify, all of that. What is nice is they fixed a couple just nagging issues of mine. The windshield wiper and the camera icons are now persistent. They don't go away when you pull up either the tire pressure or the trip counter like they used to. They're always there on this lower dock, and I think that's a major improvement. But with all that, on to the campsite we go. This would be fun to rip the car up here knowing that there weren't any cops or other drivers around, but I will leave that to some other more experienced Tesla YouTubers out there. We've made it to the state park. We are just pulling into the campground area. We'll need to find our spot pretty quickly because the daylight is fading fast. Of course, the whole reason we're here is to, well, use camp mode. So let's go ahead and throw it in camp mode, get plugged in, and get unloaded while it's still daylight. So down in here we have our trusty NEMA 1450 adapter and the Tesla mobile connector. Now it's set to 100% from last night. That's probably not the smartest thing to do, so let's take it down to as low as it'll go, 50%, because we'll have power the whole time we're here. No sense in keeping the battery full for nothing, and then we'll bump it up to 90% when we leave. Well, there's step one. So there are plenty of Tesla-specific mattresses you can get out there for camp mode. Yes, it is that popular. But I happen to have a futon in my media room that has a memory foam pad that is just the perfect size for what we're doing. So let's get it unraveled and made up and deployed. And there we are, and there's our mattress in there. Certainly not fit for a king, but most definitely fit for a single guy to spend a couple nights in the woods. Well, good morning, everyone. So it got a little cold last night. As you can see, it not only got cold, but it snowed. Luckily for me, the Model 3 kept me nice and toasty all night, and it was fantastic. But now we must confront the great and cold outdoors because we need to make ourselves some coffee. Get our portable heater set up. Alright, in order to make really good camping coffee, we need a couple of things. So we've got our AeroPress, we've got some single origin beans, and we have hot water. So let's get to making it. Alright, step 1, we need our coffee mug. Step 2, we need to stick our filter in our AeroPress. Now we're going to measure out some beans. Then we're going to take our hot water and we're going to fill this up, and then we'll stir it. And now we do the press. And there we go. So we have basically espresso strength coffee in there now. And we'll water it down to make a normal cup of joe. So watch what happens when we eject this puck, and you see what I mean in a second. Now that we've got our fill of coffee and food and all that good stuff, it's time to once again attempt to park some of the air activation. Now, if you remember, in part 2 of our Colorado road trip, we tried this in Rocky Mountain National Park and failed spectacularly. But this time, I have a feeling it should be a little different. We've got the right antenna this time, and we're not in the middle of a valley, so that should certainly help. Our box took a bit of snow. So we are going to attempt to get my end-fed half-wave antenna up into a tree. So our tools for this, we have some twine, fishing weight, basically a long piece of wire with a connector on it, and then a unon, which is an impedance converter. We're not doing anything illegal, but it's always weird trying to explain to a park ranger what ham radio is. So let's get this done quickly so that we don't have a possible outreach opportunity. So we're going to try and throw up into that tree. The car is over there, and this is where I worry that I may be a bad enough throw to where Tesla's decision to put a glass roof on the Model 3 might be my undoing. Well, anyways, if it does happen, we'll have it on tape. We almost lost that one. So the first two we went pretty low. This one went higher and into the right tree, but unfortunately only caught a small branch, so it's not going to do us much good. See the line, and you probably can't see it. Goes all the way up there on that little tiny branch and then comes down. We have to be careful not to snag the weight, because if we snag the weight, we will lose it. Alright, I think we've had a good enough throw. We went over quite a few branches, not all the way up in the tree, but should be good enough to get us out. Let's find the end of this antenna here, tie it onto our line. All right, we've got our line tied on. Let's pull it through. We have got our unsuspended and our wire going up to the tree. We're going to stick a choke on the ground here, make one out of this coax, just do a few loops of it, and then we shall get on the air.
Bravo, N4EB. Sticky contest, November 4, Echo Bravo, N4EB. Kilo Delta 3, Kilo Alpha.
Well, it looks like last time we had the problem of not being able to hear any stations. This time we had the problem of we literally hear all the stations. It looks like there's a contest going on, which is unfortunately bad news for us. In the meantime, we may play around with some FT8 and see what we can get up. Otherwise, we'll go for the late shift and see what happens. So it looks like we got ourselves an FT8 pileup going, so we'll get this thing activated in no time. Alright, we just hit QSO number 11, which means we technically activated the park one contact to go. So this one's done. Everything else is extra credit from here on out. So I think I'm going to keep running FT8 until the FT8 pileup runs dry. With only a little bit of daylight left, it's time to get dinner on the grill. So while dinner's on the grill, let's talk about the car, which has been an amazing part of this trip. Despite the below freezing temperatures, the snow, the wind, and all of that, inside has been an oasis of comfortable temperatures and dryness. Now, that being said, is it perfect? No. For someone of my height, it's a bit short in the back, and the slight incline up the back makes finding a position to get comfortable slightly difficult, although I think I've figured that out. I bought one of those cheap privacy screens off of Amazon. It is not very good, to be honest. You can practically see through it, and it doesn't fit quite right. By default, it seems to block the vents in the front, although that may be because I'm deploying it incorrectly. We'll look at that here in a second. Anyway, as far as camping experiences go, it's fairly hard to complain with this one because, let's face it, it's cold, pretty much worst possible conditions for camping, and the Model 3 just crushes it in camp mode, so 5 stars for that. Good morning, everyone. Today is our last day, so we bumped the battery charge level up to 80% last night, and we are actually going to go ahead and bump that up to about 95%. That way it will hit that right as we leave. May as well take advantage of the free power while we have it. So it is time to get packed up and loaded out. We got our mattress rolled up. What we have to do is get the rest of the campsite loaded, and we should be good to go. A wise stagehand once said, "It's all about the out." Perfect. Well, that's it. We're back home now. Thank you so much for joining us on our rather cold camping trip in the Model 3. So, some final thoughts. If you're alone and single like myself, it works fairly well. There's plenty of space in the back of the Model 3 to lie down. It's easy to watch something on a computer propped up on the back, but I don't think it would really be doable for more than a solo party. There also isn't a ton of space back there, so while getting a mattress back there and lying down works quite well, changing and other things not so much. It is a bit of an exercise in contortion trying to do that. Luckily, I chose a spot close enough to the wash house to where I could use that for pretty much everything, and then just use the Model 3 for sleeping and watching TV in. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. Now, from this point forward, this channel's probably going to change a little bit as I figure out exactly what it's going to look like uploading to YouTube and all of that. And I personally think that there's so many great Tesla YouTubers out there, it's going to be difficult to make something unique on that subject. So if you like the Tesla videos, don't worry, they're not going to stop. We're going to keep making them, we're going to keep taking trips, and we're going to keep pushing our Model 3 to the limit. But we're also going to start throwing in some videos from some other cool stuff. I do a lot of work with live production and lighting and sound and video and stuff like that, so you see a little more of that on this channel too. So if that interests you, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you get notified when we release future videos. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.